Nepal earthquake of 2015, also called Gorkha earthquake, was a severe earthquake that struck near the city of Kathmandu in central Nepal on April 25, 2015. About 9,000 people were killed, many thousands more were injured, and more than 600,000 structures in Kathmandu and other nearby towns were either damaged or destroyed. The earthquake was felt throughout central and eastern Nepal, much of the Ganges River plain in northern India, and northwestern Bangladesh, as well as in the southern parts of the plateau of Tibet and western Bhutan. The initial shock, which registered a moment magnitude of 7.8, struck shortly before noon local time, about 6:11 a.m. Greenwich Mean Time. Its epicenter was about 34 kilometers east-southeast of Lamjung and 77 kilometers northwest of Kathmandu, and its focus was about 15 kilometers underground. Two large aftershocks, with magnitudes 6.6 and 6.7, shook the region within 1 hour of the main quake, and several dozen smaller aftershocks occurred in the region during the succeeding days. On May 12 the magnitude 7.3 aftershock struck some 76 kilometers east-northeast of Kathmandu, killing more than 100 people and injuring nearly 1,900. Tsunami that hit the coasts of several countries of South and Southeast Asia in December 2004. The tsunami and its aftermath were responsible for immense destruction and loss on the rim of the Indian Ocean. On December 26, 2004, at 7:59 a.m. local time, an undersea earthquake with a magnitude of 9.1 struck off the coast of the Indonesian island of Sumatra. Over the next 7 hours, a tsunami, a series of immense ocean waves, triggered by the quake, reached out across the Indian Ocean, devastating coastal areas as far away as East Africa. Some locations reported that the waves had reached a height of 30 feet, 9 meters, or more when they hit the shoreline. The tsunami killed at least 225,000 people across a dozen countries, with Indonesia, Sri Lanka, India, Maldives, and Thailand sustaining massive damage. Indonesian officials estimated that the death toll there alone ultimately exceeded 200,000, particularly in northern Sumatra's Aceh province. Tens of thousands were reported dead or missing in Sri Lanka and India, a large number of them from the Indian Andaman and Nicobar Islands territory. The low-lying island country of Maldives reported more than 100 casualties and immense economic damage. Several thousand non-Asian tourists vacationing in the region also were reported dead or missing. The lack of food, clean water, and medical treatment, combined with the enormous task faced by relief workers trying to get supplies into some remote areas where roads had been destroyed or where civil war raged, extended the list of casualties. Long-term environmental damage was severe as well, with villages, tourist resorts, farmland, and fishing grounds demolished or inundated with debris, bodies, and plant-killing salt water. Typhoon Haiyan, known locally as Yolanda, hit eastern Samar Island at 8:40 p.m. GMT on November 7, 2013. It caused a storm surge, a wall of water, that was more than 5 meters high in some areas, including in the town of Tacloban. Reports regarding Haiyan's wind speeds vary, but according to the UN Food and Agriculture Organization, gusts reached 300 kilometers per hour. It was the strongest tropical cyclone to ever make landfall and the deadliest typhoon in the history of the Philippines, a country hit on average by more than 20 tropical storms a year and prone to both earthquakes and volcanoes. Over 14 million people were affected across 46 provinces. The city of Tacloban, home to more than 220,000 people, suffered more loss of life than any other area of the Philippines. 4 million people saw their homes severely damaged or destroyed, 550,000 houses destroyed and an additional 580,000 houses were severely damaged. The government of the Philippines said the storm resulted in more than 6,201 deaths. On this day in 2010, a magnitude 7.0 earthquake devastates the Caribbean island nation of Haiti. The quake, which was the strongest to strike the region in more than 200 years, left over 200,000 people dead and some 895,000 Haitians homeless. The earthquake hit southern Haiti at 4:53 p.m. local time. The nation's capital, Port-au-Prince, a densely populated city located about 15 miles from the quake's epicenter, suffered widespread devastation. Countless dwellings were reduced to rubble, while hospitals, churches and schools collapsed and roads were blocked with debris. Numerous government structures were heavily damaged or destroyed, including the presidential palace, parliament building and main prison. At the time of the quake, Haiti lacked a national building code, and many structures were shoddily constructed. In the aftermath of the quake, amidst fears that victims' decomposing corpses could spread disease, trucks picked up thousands of bodies and dumped them into mass graves. Even before the earthquake, Haiti, which occupies the western third of the island of Hispaniola, the Dominican Republic occupies the other two-thirds, was the poorest country in the Western Hemisphere, with 80% of its 9 million residents existing in poverty. Political corruption and violence, disease, malnutrition and limited access to education were a way of life for many in Haiti, which gained its independence from France in an 1804 slave revolt. A large-scale, international relief operation was launched soon after the quake hit, with the United States taking charge and sending thousands of military troops to Haiti to deliver supplies, assist with search and rescue efforts and help maintain order. Relief efforts initially were hampered by earthquake damage to roads, communication systems and the Port-au-Prince airport and main port. Governments and individuals around the world made donations and pledges of aid to Haiti totaling billions of dollars. However, on the first-year anniversary of the disaster, reconstruction efforts were still in their infancy. Thousands of people left homeless by the quake were living in tents, and only a small portion of the heavy debris resulting from the disaster had been cleared. On March 11, 2011, a magnitude 9 earthquake shook northeastern Japan, unleashing a savage tsunami. The effects of the great earthquake were felt around the world, from Norway's fjords to Antarctica's ice sheet. Tsunami debris has continued to wash up on North American beaches years later. In Japan, residents are still recovering from the disaster. As of February 2017, there were still about 150,000 evacuees who lost their homes. 50,000 of them were still living in temporary housing, Japan's reconstruction agency said. More than 120,000 buildings were destroyed, 278,000 were half destroyed and 726,000 were partially destroyed, the agency said. The direct financial damage from the disaster is estimated to be about $199 billion, about 16.9 trillion yen, according to the Japanese government. The total economic cost could reach up to $235 billion, the World Bank estimated, making it the costliest natural disaster in world history.